Hello YouTube and welcome to a new video. Alright, I'm joined today by my good friend Lars Erik, or as he's called on Twitch, Manmoth 1990, and here on chess.com I just call him Manmoth because that's his username here on chess.com. Alright, welcome Manmoth.
Thank you.
Thank you, yeah.
Thank you, yeah.
Alright, so I wanted to share with you guys some insight about endgames for beginners and just pawn endgames, king and pawn endgames. So what we are doing right now is I am always playing black and Manmoth is always playing white in these positions that I'm gonna put up on the screen. And Manmoth is in the analysis board, as you can see right here.
I'm stuck.
He's stuck. And white just played his queen from h5 to d1 with a check. And now black simply has two choices. He can take the queen or he can move his king. But let's say he takes the queen and white moves his king and takes back. Then black will probably try to play something like b6, and then there's going to happen a lot of trades, and probably from this point on we're going to play it out, Manmoth. So you are white, it's your turn.
Yes, sir.
So in this position, what will happen if we take? Well, Manmoth is going to simply play his king to b3, and from there on he has the opposition, and since my pawn is on b6 I have no other choice than to step aside. I have no tempo moves, so once I do that he's simply gonna mirror my king, and if I move my pawn forward, like, I can go back and forth here, and at some point I have to push the pawn. And now it's Manmoth's turn. So after b5 he's gonna play king to b3, and I can't really do much else than to push further. So
yeah,
what happens?
Position is really important.
Yeah. So what is Manmoth going to do now? It's not really much to think about, but when we come one step further down the board with our pawn as black, then it's going to be really, really hard for him. Well, he has to make a decision. It's not going to be hard for him, but he has to make a decision. So right now his king is on b3. Where does he put it? It's the same. He can play it on b2 and then king to c4. And now what does he play? He simply mirrors me again with king to c2, and after another check he doesn't step back, although that is possible, but he simply goes in front of the pawn and my king goes behind. And now he has to be a bit careful. Why is that, Manmoth?
Because if I go down diagonally, then I give black the opposition, and you will be able to force through the pawn. So let's say something like this.
Yes, then I can play here.
Grab the opposition.
Yeah.
And I have to step aside, and
then I push the pawn, and I will be able to queen, right?
Yeah, this is my only legal move, and I lose the game.
So that's why in such a position like this, you try to keep the opposition by playing your king back to b1 instead. I don't know if you can see the board there. Can you? Did you just see king to b1?
Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah, and after, let's say, king to c3 or a3, doesn't matter. Manmoth is going to play his king to c1, and right here I can't really do anything than to either push or go back with my king. So let's say I push, and he's going to step in front of the pawn once again, and I have two options. I can go to b3, and that's a stalemate because there's no legal moves for white. And I can go backwards and simply give up that pawn, and that is also a draw.
Not to go forwards.
Yeah, of course. I like that. Alright.
I'm just wondering, in this position, does this also draw?
In this position, right here.
with the B
Uh,
pawns, the B
no,
H
it
pawns?
is not. It isn't.
I think
Well,
it's
it is. It
both.
is. It is.
Yeah, that's
It's the
only
same
for
thing.
the B pawns, I think,
Yeah, B and G pawn.
and the A and H, of course.
Yeah.
No, then you can't go further.
But let's go back and let's see what would have happened if it was. Let's just go back here. If it was black to move, I mean white to move instead of black. So let's go here. White just played his queen to d1 with a check. And let's say king goes to c3 to protect the queen and also just getting closer to the pawns. White can now take the queen, and after king captures back. Now, what does white play here? How can white win this game, Manmoth? Because his king is obviously out of reach, and black's king is going to go to b4 later on and try to gang up on these pawns, right?
Yeah.
So what should white play here?
So I would suggest that people pause the video if they want to solve this on their own.
That's a good suggestion.
So this is a breakthrough idea.
Yeah.
The only winning move is b6.
Exactly. So if white plays this move, black has 2 recaptures and both loses actually. And if you don't capture that pawn, white's pawn is simply going to capture the other pawn. Or one of the pawns. Oh, what happened there? So let's say we take with the a pawn here. And now what does white play? He can't really capture back because that would just end in a draw as we saw previously.
Yeah, so the idea is undermining. This pawn is stopping this pawn from queening. Can you see my highlights, by the way?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
We are testing this out as we go along, so bear with us.
So we do this decoy, or what do you call it? I guess it's the decoy.
Yeah, we can call it decoy. It is. So with this move, c6, he's forcing black to make a decision. Do you want to capture on c6 or do you want to capture on a5? Because if you capture one of them, like you have to. But if you capture c6,
white is threatening to take and queen.
Right? Exactly. So if you take on c6, white is not going to take back on b6. He's simply going to take, play a6 and try to force that pawn up the board and probably win the game because he can queen first.
Yeah.
So after these moves, we get a new queen and it's game over. Black has nothing to show for in this position right here. I think white can actually play king d1 is safer actually.
I would have just played queen a1.
Yeah, but I think
maybe not.
King d1 is safer.
Did the queen disappear?
Yeah,
no?
It did. Here we are.
I keep throwing the pieces off the board.
But alright, so that's a really great thing to know about this particular position. That if you have, let me just get those pieces back.
Yeah. King d1 was better.
Here we are. So in this position right here, don't try to protect your queen because you're in check, right? You have to do something about it. Like if you move a king here, white is simply going to take your queen. So that's not fun. But by protecting it, you're giving white the opportunity here to play his move b6. So in fact, the only move that saves the game for black here is to take, not playing king to c3. I mean, taking the queen immediately here. Queen captures d1. So right now, king c4 is probably not a good idea because then you're giving white another chance. So let's say we take with a c pawn.
Whoops.
And then white takes back. Let's just do this. It's a bit... This is happening way too fast for both of us. So both of us are trying to make the moves here. But c captures b6. And now a6, same idea. and if you try to capture the pawn on c5, a captures b7 wins this move, and if you capture here, then c6, and this guy can't really capture the pawn. So after those moves, again, after the queens have been traded, here. So black just checked, took the queen and checked. White takes. Then you have to do something with your pawns. Either play b6, c6, or a6.
I think all of the moves draw.
I think so too.
Or they win. They win with black, actually, because the black king is so much better.
Yeah, but the problem is the white king can always get the opposition here.
So what do you do after b6?
So after b6...
I would say a6 instead.
a6 instead, alright. I'm gonna take.
Take back. Maybe c6 or... Yeah, I think c6 is good.
Probably, yeah, you're right. Probably I'm losing. So I think I am losing here, actually, because you will reach this pawn, capture that, and I can't touch the a6 pawn.
Wait, can I just check this out?
So let's say king to d6. White is now losing, as you said.
I'm actually not sure.
Not sure? After this check...
Oh, you go...
You can just play c5, and after king c4, king c6, and the king would have to step up, and then you take the other pawn. But after a6... after a6 here, let's go back, if I can possibly do that. Why? Are you making moves?
I'm not doing anything.
Alright, it's probably just weird. Let's do that again, shall we? So, getting another here, here, and here. Alright. So after a6, probably b6. Then I have to take as white. Then white has to take, right? No, it was black to move, right? Black to move, a6 there. So now b6, c captures b6. And is it possible to play...
Then a6.
Yeah, exactly.
White.
So here, white should play b6, right? So now c6?
c6, yeah.
And yeah, this is hopeless as well for white. White is dead lost.
Yeah. Because black's king is much better than white's king.
I agree. But let's look at that. If black doesn't play c6 and takes on play c6 and takes on b6 instead, then white will simply capture with this a pawn. Yeah, and what that does is
attack, then...
after king, let's say king to c4 and c6, again white is crushing because black has no other option than to take or play his king up the board, but white is simply going to take or push if that happens. So after takes, the pawn moves forward and white is winning. So there's so many nuances in these king and pawn endgames. And I believe a lot of people make mistakes in these sort of endgames. So let's say we have a pawn here and a bishop, let's say here, a black king here, and a white king here. So is there any way, if it's white to move, to win this position?
Hope you're not asking me that.
I'm asking everyone. So you are white, It's white to move. What would you play as white? And notice the color of this bishop. Alright, so if it's white to move, there's pretty much nothing he can do to win this game. He can try h6, but then king g8, and black's king is going to reach this corner, and it's not getting out of there. That's the problem. So black's king is just going to move back and forth h and g file, and there's nothing white can do to promote that, simply because he has the wrong colored bishop. But what if the position was a bit different? What if the pawn was one move forward? Let's say the position was like this. Now, actually, white has the ability to win this game, even though he is having the wrong colored bishop. So what would white play here, Lars?
I think I would have played bishop c4.
Bishop c4.
Because I want to cut the king off.
So now black is not available to any of these squares around the white pawn, right? So the only legal move for black is to go to e8 or e7. So let's say king e7, and now he can simply push. Isn't that really
and then
weird?
Promote to a knight.
Yeah, exactly. Let's make it hard for ourselves to mate black, shall we?
Yeah. Or bishop.
Bishop h7 works as well, but that makes it more difficult.
Okay, that takes a bit longer, I guess.
Yes, because you then have to move away the bishop from
bishop g8 and
exactly.
Then you allow king f6, h7, king
g7. What if the king was on f7? What would you have to play then?
Then you have to go bishop h7.
Exactly, because now if you play bishop to c4, then you're allowing king to g6.
So, let me see how this works.
Yeah, you can play as white. I'm going to play as black.
Okay, it's pretty easy, I guess. Yeah. I just force you away.
Exactly. So now the pawn is ready to march up and win the game for white.
So what I had to do there was to eliminate this f7 square, and I did that by making it... I want to play king g6,
yeah,
but he's covering that, so I just have to wait one move and then
exactly
take 7 square.
And here the opposition doesn't really matter that much, because you simply like the bishop and pawn does such a great job of covering those squares around the pawn anyways. So the king can just march forward and simply push the black king away, even though it's not oh man, what's the name? What's the word?
Not the right colored. Or what were you saying?
Even though it's not the opposition.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so this is totally winning for white. Let's look at another example, because as you guys should know, a pawn on the h and a file with a bishop on the wrong color, and by that I mean with a bishop that doesn't cover the queening square, is simply a dead draw in most cases. But in this case it proved wrong. So if I think there actually is several Grandmaster games that has ended up in this way, because as a draw, because they simply didn't know this. And that is kind of interesting, because even Grandmasters doesn't know about this bishop h7 or bishop c4 idea. So it's kind of neat to know. Let's continue and let's go for another endgame here. Here we are. So That's impossible. I'm sorry. I was going to for this one. So I'm just gonna recharge my battery here. I'm so sorry. I just have to find my charger. My battery is almost empty. But yeah, it's white to move. What should white do to keep his pawn at least?
So this is white to move.
It is white to move, indeed.
Lose whatever he does, I guess.
And
No,
for those of you who have seen this before, you can just keep on watching. But if you haven't, please just pause the video and try to calculate for yourself what will happen in this game. And we're dealing with the opposition here, guys. So what happens if you try to defend them pawn, for instance, with king to e4?
It's pretty hopeless.
And why is that?
Problem is the idea of Zugzwang.
Exactly. The king is forced away from the defense of this pawn.
Yeah, if I could say pass in this position, I would be a happy guy.
Yeah, if you can skip one move, then that would be perfect.
Even then you go king g5, and I'm losing.
The rules in chess should be more like go, right? You can just say pass for three moves, and then
Let's say white say pass, and then I say pass again.
Yeah.
Because I actually have to pass in this position as well.
You are forced to. But as a matter of fact, in chess you can't really skip a move. So after the king is forced back somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Anywhere the king goes, we're simply going to take the pawn. And black is already winning. So after that move, we're going to play king to g3. And let's... yeah, okay. So now king back to g4. And it's hopeless for white. White can try to go here, down here, and
wherever
simply take
white
an e7.
Goes.
But if white chooses to play king to d5, I'm going to play king to f5, and then I have the opposition again, and I'm gaining a second pawn.
If you look at all white legal moves, black can take the opposition on all of them.
Exactly, and that's why I played king to g3 and not king to g4 immediately.
So in this position here, white has 4 legal moves, and every one of them allows black to take the opposition and win the pawn.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of neat. Let's go for another one. This is a simple, really simple idea. How does black proceed? It's black to move here. Black simply wants a draw, right? Can black achieve that?
I think you need to swap the colors.
Oh, I'm sorry. Of course. Here we are. I'm so used to being white. So in this position,
Is white to move and draw?
No, that's not what I said. Can white get a draw from this?
Okay. The answer is no.
No, and that is correct. All right, so let's say you're white, and we're going to play this out, and we're going to talk about it while we play.
Man, you're beating me every problem. You're beating me.
The problem is that
losing side.
black has a tempo, and if white ever tries to push his king up the board, black also gets the opposition. That's the problem. Both tempo and the opposition. But what about this move right here? Like in this position, when the kings are opposing each other, and it's black to move, then black is drawing. But if it's white to move, What happens then? Can white manage a draw? If it's black to move? No, I mean if it's white to move?
I wouldn't think so.
You wouldn't think so. Is that correct? Alright.
Yeah.
So try to play on as white and we'll see. Alright?
Yeah, let's go here.
Mm-hmm.
Nah. That loses. Let's go here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So this is
our next move.
yeah. This is a really easy example of the opposition here, guys, because white to move and it's lost, black to move and it's a draw. But what about this position? What happens here if black moves?
Yeah, you would think it's a draw, but there are some strange stuff that happens when you get this far down the board.
So black to move, black plays king to c3.
And white thinks he's very lucky that he has the opposition.
Exactly. And black simply pushes forward. And white is again happy because he thinks this is just a draw, right?
Yeah, because black cannot take the opposition.
But now black has this d2 move that actually pushes white to the e2 square.
I would really love to go here.
Yeah, but that's not legal because of this pawn. And now king to c2. So if you have a pawn on the 4th rank as black or 5th rank as white, like this, and you, like, no matter who's in the, no matter who's having the move, the one with the pawn is simply going to win.
Yeah.
In this position. So even though it's white to move, white plays here, then black's job is even easier. King to e2, and that pawn is marching forward.
Yeah, hard times.
Yeah. So let's continue with this little thing here. Now, we can switch actually. We can switch so that you have 2 pawns and I only have 1. So now, white is trying to win, but how is white going to do that? White to move.
Yeah, that's.
And this is a really hard nut to crack. But if you get this in, put this inside the computer will say that it is winning for white, but it has to be played kind of precise. This is a position or a study from Amateur to IM by Jonathan Hawkins, I believe his name is. And that is a really great book for understanding the opposition and endgames in general.
So I think there's only one winning move here, actually. Yeah, if you start moving your pawns, you're doing something wrong.
Okay, so let's continue. King c7.
Yeah. So I will probably take the. Yeah, I think there's many. Yeah, I'm gonna take the distant opposition.
Yeah, that's something we're going to talk about after we've played through this.
Okay. Let me think. So king b4.
Yeah. King b6. Now I'm forcing white to make a decision whether or not to play a pawn move or simply get his king to c4 or a4 or even going back somewhere here.
Yeah, so if I play a4, you can check me and I go to the side, but that's not gonna work for you because I have this b3 move at the end, which is gonna force your king to. So I'm looking at a4, a5, king c4, king c6, and then b3, and I force this king out of the opposition and I go to one of the sides.
Exactly.
So I think that's winning.
Yeah.
But it might not be. But I'm gonna go for it.
Okay. Then I'm gonna play king a6.
King a6. Okay. So if I play b3 here, is that a draw? I think that might be a draw actually. That's okay. No, I have to think about this because I don't.
Sure, sure.
I have seen this before, but I haven't.
I believe I've shown it to you before, actually.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh. So I think b3 is actually a draw here. I need to figure out why. Why? Why is b3 a draw? Ah, because then you play king b6 and I can't waste a move. Is that the idea? And then a5, king a6, king a4, king b7, king b5, a6 check.
If I can suggest something like this, getting a pawn to a5 and getting a other pawn to b6 somehow.
Ah, okay. So what I was doing now was looking at a line with b3,
Yeah.
king b6, a5, king a6, king a4, king c7, king b4, a6 check, king here.
There's
and
a lot
then
of
you have
arrows
the
going on.
opposition. Yeah. So I was looking at this.
King
b3,
b6.
king b6, a5, king a6,
Mm-hmm.
king a4.
Now the only move, king b7.
Yeah, and I thought that this was really clever because now I get the opposition.
Yeah.
But I think this might be a draw.
King c7.
Ah, you can even do that. I was thinking a6 actually. That might be losing though. Yeah, because then I have b4.
a6 draws.
I mean a6 in this position.
I don't think that works, actually.
No, because then I waste a move with b4 and I win the opposition. This was clever because you're just gonna move back and forth.
Exactly.
And if I play a6, then I think you can play king d6.
If you play a6, I'm going to put my king to b8.
Yeah, no, king b8, of course. Yeah. Yeah, and then it's stalemate at the end. Yeah, so that didn't really work.
You want to go back?
Yeah. So my original thought was that b3 was...
Why does it go back all the time?
Yeah, I think it was because I was going back.
No, but why does it go back to the original position that we had in the end there? Let me just delete the moves here instead of you going back. Let's see. There we are, b3. Alright. So now I have several moves available, b6 and b7. But I'm going to try to keep the opposition here. King b6.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if this is winning. I don't think it is actually. No, it's not.
Try to play it out, anyways.
Yeah. So my first thought...
I'm going to keep the opposition again. King b6. Here.
Yeah, and if I go to c6, then you have no legal moves.
Exactly. So if you go to c6,
I have to go to c5.
Yeah, then you force my king back to b7. And now you need to try to get rid of this square for me, a6, the a6 square.
So let's say I go here.
Okay, then I go to c7.
And we have the same business as last time. Back to b8. But wait a second. a5, king c7, b5, king b8, b6, king a8. Okay. So I just have to calculate some moves here. A5, king A8, doesn't matter, or probably does. Yeah, you have to go to A8, of course. You can't give me this pawn.
That is true.
King A8, B5, king B8, B6, king A8. If I take that stalemate, and if I push, you go here, and I play A5, and I should win that.
Try it out.
Wait a second. A5, king A8. Now, what am I talking about? You're just gonna take on B6, and that's a draw. Yeah. Okay, so this is a draw.
But play it out so the audience can see.
Yeah. So after B6, I think it's important that you don't go to A8, right? Or can you still do that? Yeah, you can, of course. I don't know what I was thinking about. I was thinking...
So if... I'm going to go back one move here. If I take and you play A captures B6, then it is a draw, of course. It's easy right there. But what if you take with a king? What did we talk about earlier?
Well, since this is an A pawn, this is a problem for white.
Yeah, exactly. Still a draw.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where I go, if I go to A8 or take. So if I take, then that happens, and if king A8, you can't push, and you can't really take either.
Yeah, and if you take and I take with the pawn, like this, then white is winning actually.
Yeah.
So you can't take. You have to play king A8.
So if my king is on B8 and what is going on? I take, you take. Now it's king to A8. Then it's a draw.
Yeah.
But what were you saying? Like here?
But if your king was on A8 when I played B6,
yeah,
and you took pawn,
exactly,
then I would have played B7, and you would have had to go to C7.
Yes.
And then king A7 and queens.
That's true. So let's try to do this again, and this time, when you're playing this endgame, you really have to be aware of these moves, whether or not you should push 1 or 2 steps with the pawn. This is not trying to be. We can switch sides if you'd like.
No, wait, I want to try this.
Yeah, sure.
Because I think A4 actually works. After king C2.
King C7.
Yep, and then I'm gonna go king C3.
King B7.
King B7. King B4.
King B6.
A4.
And black is really, really trying to get this pawn to stay where it is.
Oh, you go there. You went to A6 earlier.
Yeah. I'm being tricky.
Now I can play king A5, I think.
So what happens if I play king to C5? Well, king A6 allows after king to B4, A5.
No, I can just play king A6 and take your
Exactly.
pawn.
So I can't push forward, even though it looks like it looks really tempting. But king back to B7, not allowing your king to get in there.
And then the question is, should I push once or?
That's the question. This is the position I wanted you to get to. Like, you have to calculate.
Or should I push at all?
Push 1, 2, or just get the opposition here.
So this move, or this move.
Exactly.
That's
And you
only
guys can
one
pause the
correct
video as well
answer.
and try to figure it out.
Yeah, this is tricky. So now I should calculate b4. Let's say king c6, b5, king b7.
Even better if my king was on a8 or b8 to calculate this.
But you can choose if I push the pawn. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So either if I push it one square or 2 squares, you're gonna choose the one that's best suited for you to draw.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like pushing the pawn actually. Then again, if I play king b5, you have king c7, king a6, king b8.
And then you can choose again,
I can
right?
choose again, and that's an improvement for white. But what about king b5, a6? Then I go back and you have to go to a7.
Then my pawn is kind of loose, right?
Yeah. So maybe then I can, I can swung. I can probably go around the board somehow, like lose the move and try to force your king away from the
Yeah,
pawn.
you can't
But
really
again,
force it away from a7, a8.
Nah.
But you can try to be mean.
So let's play this. I don't like the b3 and b4 moves.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm gonna go with king to c7.
Ah. Yeah, so here I thought king a6 was good.
Mm-hmm.
Because you improve the variation.
Because now you haven't played b3. So you can actually, after king b8, now you can choose and calculate whether or not 1 or 2 steps with the pawn is going to get me to a8 in that previous position before, where you win, right? So then again you have to calculate. You can play a5 here, it doesn't matter. A5 is still winning for white. So,
Okay.
So you can wait one move, and important. Then after king a8.
If a5 is winning, does it then matter if I play b3 or b4?
No, because you still have the option afterwards to play either b3 or b4.
But if I play b3 or b4 here, does that matter? Yeah, that's
like it's safer to move this pawn first, just because like it doesn't matter, but then it's less to calculate once my king gets to a8. Because this move a5 will happen anyways.
But if I play b3 first and you play king a8 and I play a5, then I don't have the b3 move anymore. That's kind of important. Okay, so let's see. Okay, 1, 2, b3. No, a5, king a8. Oh, no, b3, king a8, a5, king b8, b4, king a8, b5, king b8. b6 is the only way to progress. It's the only legal move, actually.
Yeah, so then you can't play b4, then you have to play b3. Because you want my king on a8 once you push. Once you push b6, you want my king to be on a8.
Yeah. So I need to calculate that once again. b3, king a8, a5, b4, king here. Sorry for all the arrows.
Now king.
That's actually cheating.
So,
you don't have arrows.
But if you play a5 and king a8, now what do you play? Now it's kind of simplified. Now you can just calculate this pawn if you want to play 1 or 2 steps forward. And I recommend you guys do the same at home.
So the a5 move doesn't matter. Okay.
No, because you still want to play b6 with getting the a5 pawn to the b6 square.
Yeah, I can always make sense that it doesn't matter. So
let's look at b3, then king b8,
king b8,
b4, king a8, b5, king, where was it?
King b8, b6, king a8.
And then it's a draw. So what about b4, king b8, b5, king a8, b6?
King b8, b7.
Exactly. b7, and then you push my king to c7, and then you take my pawn on a7.
b6, a takes b6, king b7, then b7.
Exactly. So let's
b4 win.
let's try b4 then. King b8, king a8, king b8, and now king c7.
Right.
And you push and win. And if I take, then simply the same idea as you mentioned earlier. Or is it?
No, wait. You had the wrong position.
Yeah, here we go. Now if I take, then king b8, and then b7, then king c7 is the only move that is allowed, and then king a7.
Yeah.
So it's really important to know the tempos of the pawns, because one is winning and one is drawing. And that would be so annoying to meet in a real game if you knew you had a winning chance there after seeing the game or looking through the game again after.
Just go back.
Yeah, sure. Let's go to this position right here.
So what I'm thinking is that you should wait with your b pawn. You should escort your a pawn up to a5.
Yeah, but you shouldn't escort it to a5 immediately. You should just push it to a4 and try to get your king down to a6 before pushing a5. Because you need this a5 square for your king, remember?
Yeah. That's really interesting.
It is. So that was kind of neat. I hope you guys learned something from this as well. And thank you, Manmoth, for playing this with me. Let's try another one. This position right. Right here. And now...
I'm feeling what's coming up.
Huh?
King on a5, right?
I was thinking... What was I thinking?
Probably king on h5.
No, this I'm not so sure about. The king... This move right here. Of course. Like this. Who wins if it's white to move here? Can white win if it's white to move?
The answer is, drum roll.
Take your time.
And pause the video if you don't want to hear it. Yes.
White can win.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, show me. Play as white. Then we're gonna go here.
And I will go... maybe I can't win. Okay, give me a couple of seconds. Yeah, of course I can win. Of course I can't win. Okay, so we have to go back. Maybe white can't
I'm gonna delete some moves here. There we are. So white to move.
A real big blunder for black would have been to go to g4.
So if king to d5, then king to g4, then simply king to e5, right? Then the king has to step away from the protection of his own pawn, and there's not much black can do after that.
White king gets in front of the pawn, and then
exactly.
Almost.
And the same thing happens if white chooses to try to attack the pawn immediately with this move, king g4. Now black is winning.
Yeah. White has to step away, and black takes.
But can either side win this if they play correctly?
So I'm going to try king d5 once more.
Yeah, play it out.
Yep.
I don't see your moves.
I played king d5 on my board.
Okay, then I'm gonna... it doesn't do anything. Alright. There we are. Okay, it simply
Two
just
kings. I
didn't.
have 2 kings now. Should I throw one of them off the board?
1 second.
Yeah, there we
There
go.
we are. Yeah. Okay, so now again, king h6,
So I think I went wrong.
king g7,
earlier.
king g6, king g7.
It's the same dance.
It's impossible to win this, actually. And that has to do with the opposition, as we mentioned earlier. In this position right here, white can't really win because black has the opposition, and the pawn has to step in front of the white king, and black can simply keep the opposition and get a draw out of that, either stalemate or insufficient material.
Yeah. I actually knew this, I just thought it was a white win instead of a draw.
Yeah, okay.
I know the position and the ideas.
Yeah.
But
So that's also really interesting.
If you go back to the start and move these pawns and everything just further up the board.
Yeah, like exactly.
Then I think white's winning.
Exactly, and that's why I told you previously that a white pawn on the 5th rank or a black pawn at the 4th rank makes a huge difference, because now white is able to win this pawn. And
same method.
And after these moves, it doesn't really matter what we play. We have to give up the pawn, right, as black, and now king captures f6. King f8 trying to get the opposition, but the opposition doesn't matter in this position, because this pawn can get down anyways and force the black king to go to g7, and after king to e7, white is ready to promote.
To a bishop. No.
To a bishop, yeah.
Yeah, so it's winning on the with pawns on the 5th and 6th rank, but not on the 4th and 5th.
Yeah, exactly. As for white, at least, and for black, it's the opposite, 4th and 3rd.
Yeah.
Or as a 2nd rank, of course, but well, the 2nd rank might be harder, but then you're kind of just forcing.
Yeah, then there are stalemate tricks.
Yeah, maybe. Let's try one more, and then we're going to play a game where we're going to reach an endgame, and we're going to try to see whether or not we can talk about this endgame, because this video is all about the opposition and endgame. But let's just talk about the opposition first before we go to the next kind of position. If it's white to move here, black gets the opposition. The opposition is this, as you guys have probably noticed. And if it's white to move, no, if it's black to move, then white gets the opposition. And the opposition is basically what this shows. There are no legal squares for the white king to move to in front of this black king here. So that means white has to step aside to either direction, doesn't matter. Yeah, not like a knight, of course, but you're forcing the opponent's king back or to the side, and that's basically what this is. The opposition is kind of a forcing thing. And the distant opposition, like in this case,
a fun game. Who can reach the other side?
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that.
Yeah.
So is it? Yeah, let's do that.
I'm playing white.
You're playing white. White to move.
Ah, that's good.
Huh?
Good news that it's my move.
Yeah, exactly. So if I play king to d7, let's say white plays king to d3, king to d6, then white can play king to d4 and forcing my king to one of the sides, right? Yeah. So if I move...
Run to the other side and...
Exactly. White has the distant opposition here. So I'm going to place my king onto
super distant
e7 instead. Actually, e8 is the better choice, just because...
Yeah, that's the more testing.
Yeah, because then you try to get white into playing his king to e3 anyways, and that then black gets the distant opposition. So now I'm going to play king to, let's say, d7.
Now I think I have to play king to f4.
Alright. So let's go to e6.
And king e4. I'm going to run to the corner.
Exactly. So here, white should have played king to d5 actually.
Yeah, right. I like this better.
So now king to e7, and if king to g6, then we're trying to stop him to get to the corner, but it doesn't matter. After that move, we can't reach any of these squares because the white king is covering them, and white wins with king
This
h8.
is actually a really good lesson for young students who try to learn chess. And
It is.
The opposition. Just make up this game that whoever gets to the other side wins, and then they're gonna learn the opposition by heart, and it's gonna always stick because they want to win the game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's say it's white to move and white plays king to d2 again. Now black plays king to e8.
For some reason I can't see the moves now.
Oh, alright. Let's try to delete it and go for a new one. Here we are.
By the way, apologies for my voice. I've had the flu for 3 days.
That's fine. Can you see the board now?
Yes.
Yeah, so white to move.
Yes.
King e8. Now, white doesn't want to play king to e3. That keeps his king... that makes him lose the opposition there.
Also, king d3 loses the opposition.
Yeah, to king d7, exactly. So white has to play king to e2 now, or c2.
Yeah. But if I go king e2, you're just going to go back.
Yeah, but then you can play king to f3.
Yeah. And that's
but that's the same as c3 here.
Yeah.
So now king to d7.
And we can even go to b4, I think.
Okay.
So, to be principled, I'm going to go here.
Yeah.
And I will
notice that I don't step forward, because even if I choose one of these squares, he will go and mirror my king and get the opposition. So now I'm going to play king to d8.
Yeah, you could have played king c6. Then I would have won the game.
So he is faster than I am, because he had the move. He started the game. So white will win eventually in this format.
But technically you had the diagonal opposition if you played king c6.
Exactly, but it doesn't matter in this kind of game, because I want to stop you from getting to the 8th rank, sorry.
Exactly.
8th file, actually.
Yeah.
So in this case, I can play king e8 or king e7. Doesn't matter, white is going to win. If king e8, he has a choice of playing king to g6 or e6, as he chooses to. And now again, he wins.
I'm going to promote my king to
an elephant, please.
Yeah.
Promote
it. I want to check you. Well, the elephant also checks you, I guess.
Yeah. Isn't that the same as a knight and a bishop?
No, that's the hawk, I think.
Okay.
The elephant is the rook and knight.
Alright. So for those of you who doesn't know, it's a game called Saravan chess. It's Yasser Saravan who has invented that. And it's kind of fun. I haven't actually played it, but it looks so fun.
Yeah, you guys should check that out.
Definitely.
Send him an email.
I guess Yasser would just appreciate that.
Yeah.
Alright, let's continue with... Again, I'm doing the wrong thing here. Now, it's white to move, but trying to win is pretty darn hard. And I can say that it really is impossible to win. But we're gonna try this and see if it's possible to actually achieve something from this position. But it is actually, to you guys at home, impossible to win this as white or as black if your opponent plays good moves at least. Okay, king e2, king d7, king e6, king d6. Now the king can't step to f5 because then simply king d5, getting up this pawn. And the same thing happens with my pawn, of course. Yeah, so this is just going to be a dance, as you see here.
I'll do this. Just to get a moral victory. My pawn is further up the board.
Yeah, exactly. So it looks good for white, but as long as I can stay near this pawn of mine here, he can't really push this pawn further than the 5th rank.
And there's no way forward.
That's the problem.
Really good for white.
Even king e6 meets king e8.
Yeah. Meets him at the station.
But it's...
Check.
Yeah. Then I take an en passant, right?
Yeah. Even that's a draw.
Yeah.
So there's no progress. So we'll just do this.
Exactly.
And I'll go here just to be funny.
Yeah, just be really fun. And then I go king d8, not protecting my pawn.
Yeah.
So this is just to show you guys that even having the opposition doesn't really matter in certain endgames.
Yeah.
But in this case, it might prove really, really difficult for one of the players to actually do something. Or to win, or keep the draw. But this too should be a draw if played correctly. But now the pawns can't really challenge each other, so now it's only about the kings and the pawns. Let's go here. But by simply waiting around the pawn, it might be able to draw. So if I push d6, then he can go king d5 and make his pawn up to d4. Let's do that. Let's look at that. Now king d7 and d4 forcing me away. Now we have the same position as previously. But as you remember, the pawn is now on the 5th rank.
I'm actually losing.
Yeah, if I play king to c5.
Yeah. So
but,
d5 check here is a big blunder. So you can actually lose these games if you're not careful. Now I think I have to go here.
And now if king to d5, then king d7.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to push d5.
Ah, that's a draw because it's the 5th rank, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So black has the opposition, white has to get his pawn.
If we just had this position, then...
Yeah. So that's something you want to achieve. You want your pawn when you only have those 2 pawns left in this position right here. If you see the starting position right there.
Yeah.
You want your pawn to be on the 5th rank. Let's say I do this, you do here. Let's just make some random moves here. Now this is much better for black, simply because his pawn is here. And as soon as white tries to do this, we are going to round it up, or try to at least. But yeah, let's try to play one game, Manmoth, where we will play it out. We're going to try to talk through the whole game. At least I will. And let's just let's just have a great time.
Yeah.
And let's try to reach
beer?
fitting endgame.
You have some beer?
Beer.
Yeah.
I'm not having any
beer.
beers today.
You need beer to have a good time.
So white to move. White. Manmoth is white.
So I can just do whatever?
Yeah, it's up to you.
Okay. Nah, let's be instructive.
I'm gonna delete the moves here and try again.
Yeah.
There we are. Okay, let's play the Sicilian.
And I'll play the Mora Gambit.
Alright, let's go for that. And I'm gonna take that too. And let's play G6, trying to get the dragon thing going here. And the thing is, if you try to play this as black and white, you might not even get to an endgame because it's going to be really hard to bear the attacks that's going to happen. At least if white chooses to castle queenside, but in this case, in the Smith Mora, the C pawn of white as well is gone.
Yeah.
So it's not a big problem for... Yeah, so if if it chooses to castle queenside, my rook is going to get really active on the C file. So let's play D6. A normal move here, try and get my bishop out. A6 is also possible, aiming for B5, but A6 and B5 right now is not recommended. Let's play bishop G4, attacking this knight and trying to get him some double pawns on the F file.
Yeah, I like double pawns.
You do, in front of your king.
Yeah, that's the best.
That's nice.
No, I'm just gonna... Yeah, this bishop isn't doing anything, so let's just bring it back.
Yeah, and now I'm gonna attack the queen with a tempo, getting my pieces out. So even though I'm a bit behind in development, I get the development that I wanted to achieve. And now, with this move, queen to d2, he probably thinks about stuff like bishop to h6, trying to trade my bishop for his, so that he might have a stronger attack going. But with this move, rook to e8, if bishop h6, I'm going to place my bishop onto h8.
Yeah, because this is a really important defender in front of the black king.
Exactly. So a typical idea for white here is actually to play, get this knight on f3 out of the way and push f4, f5. And if that bishop 2 is gone, then he might be able to really harm my king's position here. Okay, this is fun.
Yeah. Was I supposed to play as good as I could?
That's up to you actually. We're gonna try to reach an endgame. We're just gonna go back if we blunder or something.
Basically messing around.
Yeah, like we are so competitive, both me and Manmoth, that we actually don't want to play stupid moves. But for this purpose, we're gonna play some stupid moves in the middle game because there are gonna a lot of things is gonna happen eventually.
Yeah.
That will make us
wonder what.
Do some random stuff.
Okay, this bishop is starting to annoy me.
Yeah, I agree. It would have annoyed me as well. By placing your knight on e5, you're kind of saying to white that you want that bishop back. But now the problem with knight to e5 is that you kind of give f4 to white with a tempo if you don't move this knight away immediately. So what are we gonna play? We're gonna play this move, trying to get that bishop again. To take our knight, of course.
For the sake of the lesson, I think... Oh, there's actually a nice tactic here for black. So I think I have to go queen c1, but then I think you can take on b2. And if queen takes then my
If you
knight.
move your queen, yeah, definitely I can take on b2 because that removes the defender of the knight on c3.
So I
So that
pretty much have to take this. And the question is, yeah, if we're gonna get to an endgame, I think this is the way to go.
all right. Isn't that kind of unnecessary? Like if I wanted to, I could take the queen and then take on e4, right?
No,
Why not?
because I would take this first.
With check.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to find a good move here. But let's not. Let's take there and let's him
Whoa.
take our queen. Let him take our queen.
That's interesting.
Then we're gonna go here and he's gonna take our knight.
Ah. So what happened now? Are you sure I'm gonna take your knight?
No, I'm not sure.
Oh, I see a really good move for white.
Of course it is. I just gave away my queen. Like I just want to reach the
I was
end game,
thinking
but
queen
yeah,
b5.
sure, we can. I don't have to give away my queen if that's.
No,
If you don't want to give it back, then no fun at all.
Thinking if we were to get to an endgame, then this is probably
Yeah. So let's just take the queen then.
best way.
And let's do this. Let's do this. E captures f6 just to be funny about it. So I'm kind of threatening to play g5, but I have no chance of getting to that bishop on h6 because my king would have to go to f7 and g6. But in order for me to do that, I would have to push my f6 pawn up the board, and then weakens the g5 pawn. So even though I can play this, he can play h4, and I'm I can't really reach that bishop. So in this position, I'm going to take that pawn on e4.
I'm gonna hang my rook. No.
And then we're going to trade, and rook captures d6.
So the question now is, can I take on d6, or do you play g5?
Yeah, because now I am threatening g5, aren't I?
Yeah, I think you are.
Or am I?
No, you're not. Because there's mate at the end.
So if after this capture, if I play g5, he can play rook to d8.
Yeah, g5 with the idea of rook h4 trapping the bishop.
Exactly. So now
Luckily,
I have to worry a bit about my king safety. So I'm going to give a check, and after king h2, I'm going to bring my rook all the way back to e8.
That I think was really precise, because in the endgame you want to bring your king into the center often, and he forced my king to the side of the board.
Yeah.
So he's a pawn up now, and his king is slightly better than my king.
But my king is also kind of trapped. I need to bring my bishop to g7 in order for me to get rid of that bishop.
So it's just a small, precise move that probably doesn't matter, but it's still a nice move.
Rook e1 check first, yeah.
I'm gonna take the... Can I take the 7th rank? Yeah, I think I can.
Yes. So now if I play rook to b8, he's going to play bishop to f4. So I'm going to not allow him to do that. I'm going to play g5 first. And after rook captures b7, I might be able to get my bishop to g7 and trade off those bishops. I'm giving away a pawn, but I really need to I really just need something here. And it's really hard for me to do anything with that bishop lurking over the b8 square.
So I think I have to break out now, because you're not really threatening to take my bishop.
No, I'm not.
I don't feel like that bishop is doing much apart from keeping your rook on the...
Yeah, exactly.
last rank. Maybe I can start bringing my king in. Yeah, I think king g3 is good.
Let's play a5. Let's get rid of the attack of the pawn, so that my rook is kind of a bit freer, at least.
Let's play king f3.
And now bishop to g7, just trying to trade it.
Now rook a7. No.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm still no. Material is equal.
Yeah, because you gave away a pawn in the Smith-Morrow, right?
I have a 2-on-1. Yeah. But I have a majority on the queen side, and I'm not sure if his majority, his 4-on-3, is as good as my 2-on-1.
Especially
That's
since the
also
kings
very,
are on the king side and not on the queen side, right?
yeah. So his king is really far away from stopping my potential passed pawn, and he has to waste a lot of time stopping that, and then my king can go in. So let's say the rooks are off the board, and white, I think, is just winning.
Yeah.
With b3, a3, and b4.
Exactly. Well, probably not, actually.
You don't think it's winning?
If the rooks were off the board here, I would play f5 and probably strengthen that with f6 and h5. And as soon as you try to play, as soon as you play b3,
I would play g5,
king f8.
g4.
My king is in the position to reach the queen side here.
Yeah, but without the rooks, I think I'm taking all your pawns. We can try.
We can try later. We can look at that later. Remember the move 29. Move number 29. Alright. So I'm going to play a4.
Yeah, I think king g6 was a bit better. So he's pushing his pawns. I don't really know what my king is doing here. It's not really threatening anything, and he's gonna check me back, maybe.
And now rook to a6. Just trying to keep an eye on this 6th rank.
Yeah, rook a5 was also good.
Yeah.
Forcing me back,
but then the king would probably step to e4 like this, and
I think I'm gonna go there anyway.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't think that's. Yeah, okay, it probably works. Now I'm afraid of rook d2. So
yeah, if rook a7, then rook to d2. Rook back to a6, probably.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make a passed pawn here. And probably play king e4.
And now king g6.
So the question is, where do I put my pawns? I don't like the fact that his g5 pawn is stopping me from... Because the optimal pawn setup for white here is pawns like this. Like in a diagonal. So that's... It takes a long time to win this h-pawn. Or he can't win my h-pawn because it's defended. So if I had a pawn on f2, g3, and h4, that would be the optimal setup.
Yeah.
But this g5 pawn is sort of stopping that.
And if you guys don't already know rook and pawn endgames, then you would probably don't understand my thinking here. But king g6 might be a dubious move in the later coming moves. If this pawn was on b7 and the rook was on b8, then that would be a terrible mistake, because even if my rook was on the b file, then he could simply check me, and after I move my king to h6 or h5, he could simply promote with his pawn. So I might have to step back to g7 later on.
But I think you have time for this.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. But just keep that in mind when you're playing this thing.
Oh, I might have blundered into a perpetual. Or did I? Yeah, I think I have to play... Yeah, I think I messed this up. I'm gonna go h4 actually. So let us... Okay, I'm gonna check you once.
That's great. We love the checks. Then I'm gonna play f4.
Mm-hmm. So now he doesn't have these double pawns anymore. But if this was a pawn endgame, white would be easily winning.
Exactly.
Even with the king, maybe even with the king being able to take the pawn. Maybe not. That might be a draw. So let's play rook b8.
Mm-hmm. King h7. King g7.
A really annoying move because I really wanted king f4.
Exactly.
So now he's sort of forcing me to make moves that I don't want to make. And
now I can just keep on checking him.
well,
And
can you?
yes, and after you try to get up with your king, I'm going to keep on checking you.
Yeah. So I'm thinking I'm going to get my king to g5.
Yes, you can. Oh, that is a mistake. I'm sorry. I have to now bring my rook back to b1, of course. I'm sorry. I'm going to delete that.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
No. So after king to e5, then rook back to b1. I'm sorry. And now let's give it a check.
Just rook b5, and it's no progress made.
So if my rook still was on d1, he could have actually checked me on g8, and after my king captured, he could have promoted.
Now this is a very, very fun variation. If I go king g5 here, f6, king takes, and rook. Ah, no, that doesn't work.
Then I have to play g3 at least.
Yeah, okay, let's say g3 first.
Yeah, I meant after f6, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. f6, take on g3. Now I have no legal moves apart from rook moves. And then I lose my pawn.
But it's still probably going to be a draw.
Yep.
So let's say rook to c8. We don't have to play this out anyways. It's a dead draw, actually.
Yeah.
Then I take, and probably he's going to go there. Yeah. And I will give probably a check.
What about f5?
f5.
Keeping my.
Yeah, I can try that. And then if you take,
I
check.
have king g5.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But like, if you take the pawn, then king f6 might be very annoying. Yeah.
Evil intentions of.
Exactly.
My rook.
But this is a draw, so to speak.
Yeah.
If I play f5, he's going to play king g5, and I would kind of have to do something like this to keep my pawn. Then he can take.
And I can even take.
Then probably I'm even losing, actually. Maybe I'm even losing.
Yeah, maybe.
King f7, rook to f3.
Why not king h7? I think there are some draws.
King h7, I think you can just push h5.
Oh, then you check me.
Then you take.
And then you take this.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, okay, it's a draw. Probably.
No, I was thinking this though.
Yeah, rook f3. That's probably winning.
Probably. There are some positions with 2 against 0 that are actually drawn. There's a famous blitz game between Carlsen and Aronian, where Carlsen had 2 pawns against the king.
Yeah.
And the king was just perfectly placed in front of the pawns. And
but here your king is really active too.
Yeah, because now I think I can check you further back and stay on the 6th rank.
Yeah, a mistake there would be king to g5.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't.
No, rook f5. Yeah.
Of course, I'm just kidding.
So. Ah. A very precise move. I like the fact that your rook is, yeah, it should be over there, exactly.
It should be stay away from the attack from this king, the white king, at least. But this
So,
should be winning for white.
try to trick you by triangulating. Apparently I could not. Yeah, but it's not easy to make progress here because...
I think it's easier with a G and F pawn than with H and G pawn.
Absolutely, because then you can hide your king on the H
Yeah.
file.
Yeah.
These positions are often drawn, actually, which is really weird.
This video is getting pretty long. I like it.
Oh. Okay, I'm gonna do something different. Just really want to push my pawn to H5. Now I will check you.
Check me out. Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Attaboy.
I pre-moved.
There's no such thing
I
in the analysis.
know. Yes, now I'm probably winning. Probably. I'm not sure. Question is, can I hide my king? Yeah, this is winning actually. I think. Ah. Okay. Ah, I made a big mistake. I think this was exactly what Magnus did against Aronian.
Really?
Yeah. You went too far. Okay. Yeah, this should work. Maybe.
Let's give a check.
Yeah. A spite check.
This is so darn losing.
Problem with the analysis is that, oh yeah, I can actually promote.
Yes, you can.
I'm gonna promote with a check.
Okay. I'm gonna take it.
And then I'll play G7. No, just kidding. And I'm gonna try to mate with the rook and the king.
Yes.
Which should not be too difficult.
Let's go here. H6. and checkmate on h5.
Hooray!
Good game.
Yeah.
I want to go back to move number 29 and just get rid of the rooks there. Just to see here. King captures g7 and then
Yeah, and then get
in
rid
this
of the
position.
rooks, and I'm gonna play b3.
Yeah, but how do I get rid of the darn rooks? I have no such thing as a delete button here.
Okay, so what I can do is
There we are.
I can just hang my rooks.
There we are. So in this position,
Yeah, I was
if you can
thinking
see this.
b3.
b3, yeah. Then
You were thinking
I
f5?
think f5 or h5. So b3 is
d4.
most important move ever, because if he plays a3, I'm going to play a4 myself and stop his pawn from ever getting there. So yeah, probably b4. Even that move. Alright, h6. I don't care. King e5.
Whoa, fuck, my king disappeared.
I'm going to place it right back. But rook endgames are probably those, like rook and bishop endgames actually, are probably the endgames that most people tend to draw. A knight endgame is kind of the opposite. One of the sides with a knight, like if there's a knight versus knight and pawn, or knight and pawn versus knight and pawn endgame, one of the sides usually wins. It's pretty rare that those endgames actually ends in a draw.
I think this should be winning. Yeah, maybe like this. I'm gonna have to force you to step aside, sir.
Do it now.
Yeah. Maybe even king takes. Yeah. King takes. There. Yeah.
So it takes him 5 moves to get his pawn into the a8 square, and it takes me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 8 moves to get my pawn working. But okay, let's go. So now white should just place his king, onto c4. And I have to go all the way to get rid of this pawn. That's the nice thing about outside pass pawns.
I think it might have been more precise. Here. Instead of what I did there, let's think probably king b4 is more precise, because this pawn is further up the board, and it means that it sometimes takes longer for you to try to win my g pawn.
But now my king is so sidestepped here, so when you go here, I have to go all the way up the board.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, this was probably better.
Let's go. Let me just delete some moves here. Let's see. King c4 and then king to b6.
And now I'm not seeing the position.
You aren't? Alright.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
For some reason it goes back to the start. Okay, play king d6 now.
I have,
yeah,
but
I'm just gonna do it for you. Like this. You see it?
Yeah. Now
Okay.
I've just played king b6 and king to d5, yeah. So right now I'm in a tough spot because his pawns will promote.
Yeah, that was a good point that you made, because I was thinking it was better to push the pawn up the board, but then you can take it, and it actually takes just as long to go this route as it takes to go this route.
Yes, exactly.
So here you have to waste time. Let's remove these arrows.
Yeah,
Here you have to waste time going here and then going like this.
exactly. Hmm. Oh,
Whoa.
sorry.
Even this should be winning. Yeah, it's winning. You can just take all
So
of
an
them.
outside pass pawn, as you just saw, is really just so annoying. And now there's no way for me to get inside of these squares because of his king, and I can't really round up this pawn.
If he goes here, I'm gonna do this just to be cute.
Yeah, just to be cute. I like it. So good session there. Good session.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
But I like the one with A2, B2 versus A7.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because of my double pawn there, it's much harder for me to do anything. But I think if my
yeah, I
pawn
was
was on the
thinking the
e
problem
file, I
earlier.
think that would be kind of a drawish, or at least I would at least get at these two pawns on the B and A file.
Yeah,
I think that would be more difficult for you to handle.
Mm.
Let's do one final thing, and then we're going to end the session and end everything for everyone.
Whoa, that's pretty
I'm just going
depressing.
to clear the
And
board
everything
here.
for everyone.
So now we're going to go ahead and play something called pawn chess.
Whoa.
And that is also kind of a really nice thing to do when you're a beginner. To just, I know that all of the Polygon girls used to play this actually as childs,
Yeah,
just to know the pawn structures and the opposition, and trying to become better at that.
So I think they played this against Fisher when he visited them.
Maybe.
Yeah, I
so
think he told.
In this setup, it's the first one to get a pawn to the other side wins. But sometimes you even play it without the kings, right? And that's also quite a lot of fun.
Huh.
But yeah, let's continue. You are the one to make a move first.
E4, opening up the diagonals for my bishop and queen.
Yeah. D6 kind of saying that I want to play the perk,
defense.
and G6 coming up.
So I have a feeling that I should grab some space, but he might undermine it and get a majority.
So if he plays something like F4, I'm going to try to play F5.
I'm going to play D4.
C6.
I'm just going to push all my pawns. Probably
Yeah,
a really
do
bad
it,
idea.
man. Yeah, man.
Let's see, a man or a moth? Ah, now you don't have F5. But you have E5. Whoa. So I don't want to play D5 because then it takes and my E pawn will be backwards. Looking at this.
That's also the case for my D pawn, though.
That's true, but it might be a status quo that will be hard to do something with.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, I'm giving him a majority on the king side. Okay, I'm gonna grab more space, I think. No, that's a bad idea. Okay, so if g5, king g6, I was looking at h4. Then I might have.
So you guys should really try to play this
f5.
at home as well.
Wow,
Just
that's
pawns and
interesting.
kings. Huh?
g5, king g6, h4. I think you have f5.
That's neat.
Yeah. Yeah, let's just port this. See what
Yeah.
happens. Oh. You are being very tricky, my friend.
Yes.
So why can't I take a free pawn on h5? Because you take a free pawn on f4. Check. But if I do this... and this, maybe? I was thinking of taking here, but I wasn't too sure. I think I have to take with the c pawn if he takes. Yeah, this is probably a fortress. Probably not. I don't know.
Me neither, actually.
Whoa.
King to c3.
No, you don't have f5. Ooh. He's gonna block it all up.
Yes. You know it.
That was pretty bad. I mouse clipped. I meant to play b4.
Actually? Alright, yeah, sure. I could have actually taken on d5 and probably won the game. We can take a look at that after. We can take a look at that afterwards.
In this position?
No, right here. Like after your move king to c3. Here, king d6 and then king c3. It's your move. Let me. There we go. Try it now.
King c3 takes on d5.
Yeah, taking on d5.
Pawn takes. C takes.
C takes, yeah. Then f5.
G takes. King d3.
Oh yeah, totally. Of course, your king is actually just in time.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
Yeah, I didn't
I
actually.
said you don't have f5.
Alright, but you played here and I played c5 and you played b4, right?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So the question is, after b6, should I take?
I'm playing a6.
Yeah,
this video is really long. It's been, has it been like 1 hour and 44 minutes now, I think? It wasn't supposed to be this long, but it's so fun.
If I go b5, you're gonna go a5. Oh, then b6.
No, then b6, that's a problem.
Then I think this is just a draw.
I think you might be winning, actually.
Really?
Because of the G and E pawns.
Yeah, but I probably have to play e takes f5 instead of g takes. means that I don't want to let you undermine this pawn chain with like b5. I'm just gonna play b5 anyway.
Have you played?
No, I'm thinking.
Because I can't see your move here.
Let's go a4.
Okay. Now I think it might be better for me with b6. I think b5 was actually winning for you.
b5?
Yeah.
And if you wait, like king d7?
Then b6.
King d6, king d7, king d6.
Yeah, then everything's blocked probably. But yeah. b6, your move.
I don't see a way to progress here. Nope, I think it's a draw.
Then let's continue playing. Let's see if that is actually a draw.
I'm gonna check out something here. a5, b takes a5, c takes b takes e5, king b3, f5, e takes f5. Then you're winning because you have too many passed pawns. Yeah. I'm gonna offer a draw with this move.
Really? Okay. Let's take.
Maybe c takes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just a draw.
So
distant opposition. That actually matters in this position.
why?
I'm not even joking. It actually matters because I was looking at king c4.
Yeah.
King d6, a5, b takes a5, king takes c5.
No, king takes c5 doesn't work. My king is on d6.
Oh, exactly, because you have king d6 after king c4.
Yeah.
Because now you have the distant opposition.
Yeah.
But if I could play king c4 with your king on c7, then it might have been different. So can I triangulate somehow?
Probably not.
Now I have... yeah, but I'm gonna triangulate some more.
You try that. Go ahead.
Yep.
Triangulation, for those who doesn't know that, is where you try to move your king to this square, but in order to do that, you want to win a tempo. So you play this move first, then this, or even here, here, and here before doing that, just so that you can get the opposition or win a tempo by leaving your opponent.
That's how you win bullet games, by the way.
Yeah. Probably.
So Nakamura would just run around and wait for some kind of... yeah, okay.
This is just weird.
No way.
But yeah.
Okay, let me see. a5, b takes a5, b6. King d7, king takes c5.
Try it out for the audience.
Yeah, okay.
Hmm. So if I push c4 and you play king to a3, I'm going to play c3.
Yeah, that's the
So I'm going to
problem.
push c4.
Hmm. Now he's actually winning, son of a bitch. So that didn't work.
So we would accept a draw here because we would just move back and forth with our kings. Like no one, I don't have a break with my f pawn.
I would just move back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. And I would never push my f pawn to f5 because your king is close enough.
Yeah, I can stop this pawn
Yeah.
pretty easily.
But like in this case, if king goes here and c3 is played, white doesn't have the option of going to b2 because my pawn is guarding that.
If I go to 8-2.
Yeah, you can do that. Then I will go to c8 just to waste a move.
Yeah.
And probably now you can play d6 though.
Oh, and it's the same. That's kind of funny.
It is. So now you are actually winning.
You think?
Yes.
Nah, I don't think so.
Because yeah, but if I play my king to d7 or b7 or b8 or d8, you're just going to push the other pawn.
Well,
That is so freaking insane.
that's pretty insane, yeah. That's pretty insane.
And that is endgames
So,
for you.
King C8, King D6 though.
Yeah, probably. Just going back. Now king to b1 loses to a3.
Yeah, then he's winning because he gets this. So 2 pawns separated by 1 square on the 3rd rank, I think, is always winning.
Yeah.
In such situations. That's actually good to know.
That's really fun, actually. If I had played king to c8, trying to get at that b6 pawn.
Yeah.
And I did play that.
So king c8 loses to d6.
Exactly.
And d6 draws. And king b1 loses to a3.
King d6 wins, king c8 loses. That's a huge difference.
So king d6 wins?
Yeah, it does. Like, what do you play?
Good point.
He's in Sugswang. He has to make a move, but there's no move he would actually want to play. Yeah, no, not like that. If you go there, if you go to a3, I'm going to go back to d7.
And I go back.
Okay, yeah, it is kind of probably a draw, isn't it? Because I always have to stay alert to these pawns as well. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really
We
think
have
that.
the exact same situation. Kings on the 2nd ranks and pawns on the 3rd and 4th.
Yeah. Neither one of the kings can move backwards.
The fact that you have a majority here doesn't matter because this pawn is backwards.
Yeah. That's fun. Alright, I think we're saying goodbye to everyone and to Manmoth as well. Thank you, Manmoth, so much for joining and taking part of this.
Yeah, that was fun. That was hard to do with the flu and the fever at...
I guess it was. I believe in you. But I hope you feel better pretty soon.
Yeah, playing chess cures every disease.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Like, you've seen so many strong players play when they're sick and just have a really hard time to cope with life in general. But they play well either way. It's insane, actually.
I think in 2014, Magnus played one of the games against Vichy, and he was just lying in his chair because he was so sick. Almost.
So he was sick, actually. He wasn't really just tired, as they said on the broadcast.
I think he said in the interview afterwards that he had been under the weather.
Cool. Nice.
Which
But
everyone.
you should go check out Manmoth's channel on Twitch. And as you can see on the screen here, Manmoth1990 is the username for him
I'm
on
usually
Twitch.
way cooler than this.
Yeah, he's usually way cooler. I agree.
I don't know.
He usually talks less. So, alright. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching this almost 2 hour long video. If you have any questions at all, please just send them to me, either on YouTube or on chess.com or on Twitch. I'll try to make some more videos on these endgames. Probably a bit shorter ones. And I hope that Manmoth wants to take part in some of those videos as well in the future.
Yeah, I would love to do some. If we get some middle game positions and we discuss some ideas.
Yeah.
And because I think we have somewhat similar approach, but kind of different also.
My approach is really just straightforward. Attack, and if it doesn't work, I lose.
Okay, then we have a very different.
Lars or Manmoth has the approach of calculating, seeing things, and wanting to be happy all over, pretty much. I just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what my approach really is, but I really feel that we have kind of the same ideas in both the middle game and openings, at least as far as the openings where we actually don't play regular normal openings.
Yeah.
And the principles of chess is universal. You want to get your pieces out in the opening, you want to take control of the center, and in the end game you want to have control of the squares.
Activate your king.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of the end games that me and Manmoth plays actually turns out to be become a rook and pawn endgame where no one can win. And that happens a lot, guys, a lot. But he manages to win anyways, because he's the better guy.
Or a better swindler.
Yeah, probably both. Anyways, if you haven't done it already, check out my match against Manmoth a couple of months ago, or many months ago. We played some blindfold chess and some other games on YouTube. Alright, subscribe to my YouTube channel, my Twitch channel, and Manmoth's Twitch channel. See you guys. Bye.